Hi, my name's Orly, and this is my 10-minute meditation designed to help you find discipline. Get really comfortable whenever you're ready. Grab your cushions, grab your blankets, and prepare to relax. Take a few deep rounds of breath. Just let go of anything you are holding unnecessarily. Observe any distracting thoughts that are moving through your mind and conclude them as best you can. And then release them with your next exhale, knowing that you can return to them after this meditation if you need to. But for now, it's time for you to show up for yourself. What is it you require from this practice in order to move towards a place of discipline, however that needs to look for you today? What must you let go of? And what must you take in more of? And we're going to think about this in relation to qualities that we each possess. Now, it might be that the version of you or the part of you which is going to be most helpful in order for you to find discipline is the motivated part. And in order to access that part, we try and bring ourselves back to a moment whereby you were the most disciplined and motivated you could be. Maybe remember a moment of productivity, working towards a deadline or feeling inspired. Acknowledge the sensations that came up for you around that. What was going on within your body, if you can remember. Maybe you put yourself back into the space you were in for that experience. If you're a visual person, imagining your surroundings. And think about how that feeling and that drive affected you in those moments. What did you embody? How was your heart doing? Bring yourself back into that space. Reconnect with that version of you. And let it take up everything within you right now. And then come back to this moment. And acknowledge anything you are holding on to, any characteristic perhaps which is stopping you from feeling as driven as you could be. So it might be that there's some fear or resistance that's going on for you internally. Now acknowledge that, or whatever else it is you feel is an obstacle within you at this moment in time. And get ready to release it. Maybe think about just letting go of that fear or that resistance. On your next out breath. And in place of that, you're going to invite in a little more of that character or that quality that you need. Think about how your world might look as the most motivated version of you. How would it feel? How would you move through your day? And what would the effects be? Give yourself a few moments to do this. Really flesh out that world. Imagine details of how it feels, how it sounds. Think about how your energies are in that space. And the reason you are able to connect with that part of you is because you've been there before. You have been that version of you before. And that means you can return to them. You can bring them back. They are there for you to access and to communicate with. And sometimes it might be that certain parts of our character feel a little buried or distant. Sometimes it takes a little more work to embody them. But right now, we focus wholeheartedly on moving towards or inviting in that motivated version of ourselves, that inspired version of ourselves, that driven part of us. And if there's a specific event or moment you want to prepare for, then you imagine, now moving into the future, that you are already there. Maybe you have a meeting you want to get ready for. Maybe you have a deadline and you want some inspiration. So you imagine now reaching that moment, or think about a moment otherwise that may feel appropriate if nothing comes to mind. And we step into that place, into that space that we're working towards, thinking about how it would look to be there, how it would feel, how it would sound. And we imagine that as we move into that space, we are the version of ourselves we want to be. And we embody the characteristics, or we're led by the traits which we require. And even as you imagine it, you feel as though it's already happened. You are already that version of yourself. All you have to do to get there, to return to that place within you, is embody the qualities that you need, that you have already demonstrated in the past. They are all there for you to come back to. You can be whichever version of yourself you need to be. All it takes is a deeper communication with yourself. We've each possessed a multitude of characteristics, and we can come back to them. Okay? They are all within us. They are all part of our lived experience. Right now, you embody the part of you which feels most productive or most nourishing or most supportive in the capacity that you need. And you imagine that you are already there. And you know that when the time arises, when you get to that moment, you can and you will show up for yourself. Sit with it for a few moments, that quality or those qualities, that aspect of you. Sit, absorb, embrace. Continue to see the world through that lens. And know that you can return here whenever you require. Everything you need is within. Take a few rounds of breath as you return to the version of you that is sat on your mat or lying down, meditating from wherever you are meditating from today. And appreciate the characteristics that you see within you right now. And maybe notice that there is a little more of the parts of you, those characteristics you've identified that feel useful than there were at the beginning of the practice. And thank yourself for showing up for you in the ways that you have. and appreciate the fact that you will continue to show up for yourself in the ways that you need. Thank you so much for taking the time to move through this meditation with me. It has been a pleasure. Thank you.